On the Tokmak direction, the occupiers have significantly worn down their reserves and airborne units against the forces of Ukraine's liberation. But they realized that throwing their elite into pointless infantry assaults on the flanks is a futile business, so they are slowly redeploying them to the Novoprokopivka area. But this is more like a Brownian movement with a high probability of changing their minds in the future. A strategic reserve of the enemy, understaffed, is already arriving there, but they have no other. Most likely, they will again turn to frontal attacks on Robotyno, using the advantage in personnel. This may slow down the Ukrainian offensive in the depth from Robotyno, but gives opportunities in other areas. We'll see how it goes. It's too early to draw conclusions. But such a haste of the enemy indicates their crisis in the operational management of troops on the Robotyno bridgehead. They are trying by all means and forces to stop the movement of the AFU, and therefore they make mistakes right on the move. Therefore, it is very important to capitalize on the mistakes of the occupiers. They will be very hurt and will be forced to adjust plans again. The flanks of Bakhmut. Heavy fighting continues along the railroad, and east of it near Klishivka and Andriivka. In at least 3 sections the railroad has been passed. On one of them a bridgehead is already being formed. When the appropriate conditions are created, we should expect the resumption of larger scale actions. And where it will be, Opatny, Odradivka or even Mariupol Cemetery, let the occupants guess. By the way, in the area of the cemetery the enemy is now strengthening and building fortifications. Probably they want Ukrainian artillery to bury them right there. It is very symbolic. In Kurdyumivka also fighting continues and there is a small advance. In the north there is actually parity, otherwise no change. I would also like to touch on a seemingly obvious point, but one that is overlooked by many. Ukraine continues to advance, and Russia continues to retreat. And all the counterattacks of the enemy, which are now more numerous, tell us what? There's a lot of talk in the media about the Ukrainian counteroffensive, but the Russians then have what? A counteroffensive. No, it's been a Ukrainian offensive for a long time. Because when someone attacks and you attack back, that's called a counteroffensive. Russia is constantly counterattacking in response to the Ukrainian offensive. The fact that Russia is counterattacking shows that it is adjusting, it needs to react. When you counterattack, it shows that you don't have the initiative, the one who is attacking has it. It is important to say in the media that Ukraine is now advancing, not counterattacking. Because if someone says that Ukraine is counterattacking, it creates a false impression that the initiative is on the side of the Russians, but it is not. Ukraine is offensive, including in this Bakhmut direction. And the fact that Russia is counterattacking shows that Ukraine still has the initiative in its hands.